Hello everyone. I am Vivek Kumar Srivastava, PMRF TA of this course, and currently I am pursuing my Doctor of Philosophy from Antenna and Microwave Research Laboratory, Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar. So, the name of this course is Principles of Signal and System by Professor Aditya K. Jagannathan. So, this course you can find in the SWAM portal of NPTEL. So if you haven't enrolled for this course till now, so you can go and enroll for this course. So this class is basically organized just to interaction with the learner of this course with the TAs, such that TA can help the learner so as to understand the concept that has been covered in the previous lectures of this course, and try to solve the problem based on the topics that has been covered in the course. So here I will help you so as to apply all those concepts that has been covered in the class so as to solve the numericals. Okay, so if you have any doubt, then you can ask your doubt during this session, as well as you can also write your doubts in the discussion forum of this course. So I will try to address all your comments as soon as possible. So I think we can now start the today's class. So before moving ahead, let me switch off my camera so as to save the bandwidth. After that, we can start the class. So is this slide is visible to you all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Yes,
So
sir.
so we can now start the today's class. So here is the first problem. Okay, so the problem states that a continuous time signal x of t is shown in figure 1. Okay, so here is the figure 1. So based on this figure, we have to sketch and label each of the following signals. Okay, so basically this x of t signal is given to us. So based on that, we have to give some uh, elementary process in this signal so as to obtain this kind of signals, that is x of t minus 2. Basically this represents the shifting of the signal. Okay, similarly x of 2t or x of t by 2, this represents the scaling of the signal in time domain. Okay, whereas x of minus t basically represents the time reversal. Okay, so we have to do the all this elementary operation on this signal x of t. Okay, so let us first start this question. So this x of t is given to us. Okay, yeah, let me select this pen. Okay, so first of all we have to find out another signal which is represented as x of t minus 2. Okay, so as we can see here in this figure, that x of t is starting from t is equals to 0 and end at t is equals to 4 second. Okay, so we will basically try to shift this signal by t minus 2 second. Okay, so this signal is basically a shifted version of this x of t. Okay, so here the amplitude of signal will not change because we are not doing any operation on the amplitude. Here we are only performing operation on the augment, that is time. Okay, so let us start and solve this problem. So basically here, as we can see from this figure, that this augment of this signal x of t start from t is equals to 0 and end at t is equals to 4. Okay, so for obtaining this signal, what we will do, we will uh, put the argument same as the signal x of t, that is t minus 2 start from 0. So this represents that t will start from 2 second. Okay, whereas it will end at t minus 2 is equals to 4. So it will end at t is equals to 6 second. Okay, so x of t minus 2 signal is basically represented as uh, Yeah, sorry. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So basically x of t minus 2 signal will start at t is equals to 2 and it will end at t is equals to 6. So this basically represent the signal x of t minus 2. Okay. So now the second signal that we have to draw here is x of 2t. X of 2t. So basically here also we have to do the same thing, that is to equate the argument, that is 2t will start from 0. It means t will start from 0, whereas 2t will end at 4. Okay, so it means that t will end at 2 second. Okay, so this is the starting point, this is the end point. So if we will plot the signal, so this basically plotted as sorry, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So this signal basically start from t is equals to 0 and it will end at t is equals to 2. So this represent basically x of 2t signal. Okay, similarly if uh, we have to plot this signal, that is x of t by 2. So what we will do, we will equate the argument, that is t by 2 is equals to 0. So from here we will got t is equals to 0. From t is equals to 0 this signal will start, and t by 2 is equals to 4, this will end. Okay, so from here we can say that it will end at t is equals to 8 second. Okay, so if we will plot this signal, so how we can plot? So this is, let us say 2 4 6 8 10. Okay, so this will start from t is equals to 0 and it will end at t is equals to 8. So this represent the signal x of t by 2. Okay, so let me erase this.
Uh,
Sir, one question.
Yeah,
What is the x argument, sir? X, for example, t is equal to 8.
yeah,
What is the value of x?
x. Okay, means see, this will remains
Ah,
the same as the amplitude
yeah.
of the original
So,
signal.
so that means 3 only.
Yes, yes, yes.
T is equal to 8. X still 3.
Yes, yes, yes. The
Okay, okay.
amplitude will remains the same. Okay, only the time here is changing because we are doing elementary operation only in the time. We are not changing, we are not playing with the amplitude here. If suppose we are plotting another signal, let us say x of t minus 2, where we are also playing with this amplitude, let us say this is half. Okay, so here what we will do, here we have to see both time as well as amplitude. So here uh, yeah, just a minute. This is 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Okay, so this signal is basically starting from t is equals to 2 and it will end at t is equals to 6, that is for sure. Okay, but here we also have to see the amplitude. So here the amplitude is 3 into 1 by 2, that is 1.5. Okay, so here amplitude will also change for this problem because we are doing elementary operation on amplitude as well. But in this problem we are only doing elementary operation on the time only. Okay, so here we are
sir,
only, yeah, hello, are you saying something?
does the slope in the second will change or not? Yes, sir. I am saying that in second question, does the slope will
Yeah,
be
slope
same or
will
it will
see,
change?
slope will change, but I think you are asking the maximum amplitude. Slope will change, because slope is basically representing the change in y-axis divided by change in x-axis. Okay, so if these quantities will change, then slope will change, but the maximum amplitude will remains the
Yes,
same.
sir. I think the graph is shrinking.
Yeah, like here you can see. Okay, so this is plotted for t minus
Yes, sir.
2. This is x of 2t, x of t by 2. So here you can see that slope is changing. Okay, but the thing is, the maximum value is remains the same because we are not doing any operation on the amplitude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in the last part of this problem, we have to plot x of minus t. So basically this is the time reversal. This shows the time reversal. Okay, so this is, if this is the original signal, so what you have to do, this x of minus t will start from minus t is equals to 0. So from here we will got t is equals to 0, the signal will start. Okay, but it will end at 4. Okay, so from here we will see that it will end at minus 4. Okay, so if you will plot this signal, so this will come like that. Okay, so it will end at minus 4. So that is how we can do elementary operation on any signal. Okay, so any doubt in this question?
No, sir.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So let us move ahead and see the next problem. So here is the another problem which states that determine if the following signal is periodic. Okay, if yes, then we have to also determine the fundamental time period. Okay, so as we all know that every sinusoidal signal is a periodic signal. Okay, means every sine and cos signals are basically a periodic signal. But what happened when once we sum up these two sinusoidal signal and make another signal? So here let us say g1t we are making, which is the another signal which is a combination of sine and cos. So whether it is a periodic signal or it is not a periodic signal, and if it is a periodic signal, then what is the fundamental time period of this signal g1 of t that we have to determine. Okay, so if suppose, so before moving ahead, let us see some theory behind this problem. Okay, so if suppose we have two signal x1t and x2t, okay, having time period t1 and t2 respectively, and we are making another signal g of t with these two signal. Basically we are summing up these two signal. So for obtaining whether this signal is periodic or not, we will see that whether the ratio of t1 by t2 is a rational number or not. Okay, so if suppose this is a rational number, then we can see, then we can say that g of t is a periodic signal. Otherwise it is not a periodic signal. If it is following this property, then it is for sure a periodic signal. Okay, so periodic rational number is basically defined as a number which is represented in the form of p by q. Okay, so if it is following this form, then it is a periodic signal, and we can find the fundamental time period of this g of t as l, sorry, as LCM of these two, that is LCM of T1 and T2. Okay, so first of all, here we will see whether this G1 of T is a periodic signal or not. Then we will, if this G1T is a periodic signal, then we will determine the fundamental time period of this signal G1T. So uh, uh, let us move ahead and see. So here from this first problem we can see that the time period of this signal sine of 4 pi t is defined as 2 pi by t1 is equals to 4 pi. Okay, so from here we can see that t1 is equals to 1 by 2. Okay, whereas the time period for this signal cos of 3 pi t is defined as 2 pi by t2 is equals to 3 pi. Okay, so from here we can say that t2 is equals to 2 by 3. Okay, so if we will take the uh, ratio of t1 and t2, so we will get 1 by 2 into 2 by 3. So this is equals to 3 by 4, which is basically representing a rational number. So we can say that g1 of t is basically a periodic signal. Okay, so let us now find out the fundamental time period of this signal g1t, which is defined as the LCM of t1 and t2. Okay, so LCM of t1 and t2 means 1 by 2 into 2 by 3. So LCM of this kind of number is determined as LCM of 1 comma 2 divided by HCF of 2 comma 3. Okay, so this we can determine as 2 divided by 1, which is equals to 2. So the fundamental time period of this signal g1 of t is equals to 2. Okay, so any doubt in this question?
No, sir.
Okay, so let us try to solve another problem. Yeah, so another problem is g2t is equals to 3 sine of 4 pi t plus 7 cos of 10t. So here the fundamental time period of first signal, that is 3 sine 4 pi t, is determined as uh, which is same as 1 by 2 basically. Okay, from this equation. Okay, whereas the fundamental time period of this signal, that is cos of 10t, is determined as 2 pi by t2 is equal to 10. So from here we can say that t2 is equal to pi by 5. Okay, so now if suppose we will take the ratio of t1 by t2, so this will be equal to pi by 5. So this is equal to pi by 5 by 2 pi, which is a irrational number. Okay, this is not a rational number anymore. So we can say that this signal g2t is not a periodic signal. Okay, so if it is not a periodic signal, then there is no fundamental time period that we can find out for this signal. Okay, so that's how we can determine the periodicity of any combination of signal. So any doubt in this question?
No, sir.
Okay, so let us move ahead. So here is the another problem. So basically in the previous problem we are seeing that how to determine the periodicity of any continuous time signal. Okay, so here the signal is continuous time signal, but here in the next problem we are focusing on the uh, discrete time signals. Okay, which is represented as f of k. Okay, so this k is basically defined for discrete times only, which is 1 2 3 or any integer. Okay, so we have, so here basically we have to determine the whether these signals are periodic or not, and if it is a periodic signal then we have to determine the fundamental time period of these signals. Okay, so let us see the this problem. So first signal is f of k is equals to sine of pi k by 12 plus pi by 4. Okay, so before moving ahead, let us see some theory behind this. So if suppose any discrete time signal is given to you, which is defined as sine of rho naught k. Okay, so this will be periodic. So to determine whether this signal is periodic or not, what we have to do, we have to replace this k with uh, another parameter which is equals to k plus k naught. Okay, so this is basically representing here sine of rho naught in bracket k plus k naught. So this will be equals to sine of rho naught k plus rho naught k naught. So this signal will be periodic only if this rho naught k naught will be equals to the an integer multiple of 2 pi. If this satisfies this condition, then we can say that this signal is a periodic signal. Okay, so if this is a periodic signal, then fundamental time period of this signal is determined as 2 pi by rho naught into m. Okay, or in other word, we can also say that if this rho naught by 2 pi is a rational number, then this uh, periodic this sequence is basically a periodic signal. Okay, so if we will use this condition so as to determine whether the signal is periodic or not. So we will use this condition basically, and if the signal is periodic in nature, then we will find the fundamental time period of this signal by using this equation. Okay, so let us move ahead and see that how to use this condition so as to find the periodicity. So the first problem is f of k is equals to sine of pi k by 12 plus pi by 4. So from here we can say that rho naught is defined as 12 by pi. Okay, so if we will check for this condition, that is rho naught by 2 pi, so this will be equals to pi by uh, 2 pi into 12. So this will be equals to 1 by 24. Okay, so this representing basically a rational number. So we can say that this signal is basically a periodic signal. Okay, so let us now move ahead and find the fundamental time period of this signal, which is equals to k is equals to 2 pi by rho naught into m. Okay, so this factor basically we have already determined, so this will be equals to 24m. Okay, so this m basically representing an integer number which is equals to 1 2 3 4 and so on. So fundamental for determining the fundamental time period, we have to take the minimum value of m such that it satisfies this condition. Okay, so the minimum value of m that we can take here is 1. So once we take minimum value of m, then the fundamental time period is defined as 24. So that's how we can determine the fundamental time period of any uh, discrete time sequence. Okay, so any problem, any doubt in this question? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us move ahead and see some more numericals based on this concept. Yeah. So let us take the second problem, which is equals to g of k is equals to cos of 3 pi k by 10 plus theta. Okay, so we will use the same concept that we have taken in the previous problem. So we will first determine the value of rho naught, which is equals to 3 pi by 10 here. Okay, now we will check for the condition that is rho naught over 2 pi. So this will be equal to 3 pi by 10 into 2 pi. So this will be equal to 3 by 20. Okay, which basically representing a rational number. So we can say that this signal is basically a periodic signal. Okay, so let us now move ahead and find the fundamental time period of this signal. So this will be equal to 2 pi by rho naught into m. So yeah, this will be equal to 3 by 20 into m. So we have to basically set the value of m in such a way that this k naught is a integer, because this sequence is basically defined only for integer value, that is 1 2 3 uh, 10 20. Okay, so this sequence is basically defined only for integer value. So to make it integer, what we have to do, we have to select this value of m such that this quantity becomes an integer. So the minimum value of m for which this quantity becomes integer is m is equals to 3. So once we put this value m is equals to 3 here, so the fundamental time period will come as 20. So this is basically representing the fundamental time period for this signal. Okay, so similarly we can solve the numerical third here, which is equals to cos of 0.5 k plus 5. Okay, so here rho naught basically equals to 1 point, sorry, 0.5. Okay, so now you have to check for rho naught over 2 pi. So once you check for it, so this will be equals to 1 by 4 pi, which is a irrational number. Okay, so this is basically an irrational number. So that's why we can say that this signal is not a periodic signal. Okay, similarly we can uh, solve for fourth problem, which is basically a complex exponential signal. Okay, so complex exponential signals basically it is a combination of sine and cos. Okay, so this is equals to uh, cos of 7 pi k by 8 plus theta plus j sine of 7 pi k by 8 plus theta. Okay, so that's how you can represent any complex exponential signals. Okay, so here also you have to first determine the value of rho naught, which will be equals to 7 pi by 8. Okay, now you will check for the condition rho naught by 2 pi. So this will be equals to 7 by 16, which is a rational number. Okay, so if it is a rational number, so we can say that this is a basically a periodic signal. Okay, this is basically a periodic signal. And once you know the whether the signal is periodic or not, so you can go ahead and determine the value of fundamental time period. So I am leaving this exercise for you, you can try it by yourself. So any doubt in this problem?
No, sir.
Okay. So here is the another problem, which states that consider a continuous time signal shown in figure 1a and 1b. Okay, so these two uh, figures are given to you. So we have to basically calculate the instantaneous power, average power, energy present in the two signal. Okay, so this quantity basically we have to determine for these two signals. Okay, so by first looking at this signal we can see, or say we can say that this is defined only for finite intervals. Okay, so every energy signal is basically defined for finite interval only, whereas from here we can see that it is a periodic signal because this signal is repeating itself after a certain period of time. So here after a period of 8 seconds this signal is repeating itself. So that's why this is a periodic signal, and every periodic signal is basically a power signal. So by first looking at these two signal we can determine whether this signal is a energy signal or it is a power signal. But if suppose by just looking at this signal you are unable to determine whether it's a power signal or energy signal, so what you will do, you will go for conventional method where you will determine energy and power of this signal separately, so as to say whether this signal is a power signal or it is a energy signal. Okay, so that method we will use here. So let us first determine energy and power for this signal, and then we will go for this signal. So here let us first represent this signal, that is x of t is defined as uh, 5 for interval -2 to 2 and 0 otherwise. So this basically represents this signal x of t. Okay, so now to determine the instantaneous power, what you have to do, to determine the instantaneous power you have to just take square of this signal. Okay, so once you take square of signal, so this becomes equals to 25 when t is in between -2 to 2 and 0 otherwise. So this basically represent the instantaneous power that is contained by this signal. Okay, so now this is the instantaneous power. So now we will move ahead and determine the energy and power contained in this signal. Okay, so just a minute. Yeah, so for determining the power that is contained in this signal, or say energy that is contained in this signal, we will use this expression that energy is defined as minus infinite to infinite x of t square dot dt. We will use this expression so as to determine the energy contained in this signal. Okay, so interval will start from -2 to 2, and this mod of x of t matlab it will be equals to 5 square dot dt. So this will be equals to 25 into 4, so this is 100 joules. So this is basically the energy that is contained in this signal. Okay, whereas for determining the power what we will do, we will use this expression that limit uh, t tends to infinite 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 mod of x of t square dot dt. Okay, so we will use this expression limit t tends to infinite 1 by t minus 2 to 2 uh, 25 dot dt. So this will be equals to yeah 100 by t, where limit t tends to infinite. So once you put the limit t tends to infinity here, so this power becomes 0. Okay, so from here we can see that energy is finite here, whereas power is 0 here. So for every signal for which energy is finite and power is 0, so we can say that this kind of signal is basically an energy signal. Okay, so this basically represents an energy signal. Okay, so from theory as well as uh, just by looking at this signal we can determine that whether this signal is energy signal or power signal. So as I said earlier, for every energy signal it is basically a bounded signal. So just by looking at this figure we can say that it is a energy signal, or we can determine this expression so as to say whether it's a energy signal or power signal. So as I uh, done for this first figure, similarly we can determine the whether this second signal is energy or power signal. So that we can determine, like, first of all we will write this signal which is equals to in between t from -2 to 2 it is equals to 5, and from 2, let us say this is 6 basically. So for this interval this z of t is basically 0 here. Okay, so for that instantaneous, for determining the instantaneous power we have to just take the square of this signal. Okay, so this basically representing the instantaneous power. So now we can move ahead and find whether this signal is energy or power signal. So for that we will use this expression that power is defined as 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 mod of x of t square dot dt. Okay, so here the fundamental time period is basically 8. Okay, so that's why I am taking t as 8. Then this will be equals to -2 to 2 25 dot dt. So you can calculate this, and this will be equals to 12.5. So this basically representing that power is finite here. Power is finite here. Similarly you can determine the energy of this signal by using this expression. So this will be come to infinite. So from here we can say that energy is infinite here. Okay, sorry. So for every signal for which uh, power is finite and energy is infinite, this kind of signal is basically a power signal. Okay, so for this signal, by looking at this figure as well as by calculating the energy and power, we can determine that it is a power signal. So that's how we can determine whether a signal is a energy signal or it is a power signal. So any doubt in this question? Hello, am I audible? Okay, thanks. So let us move ahead. So here is the next problem. Uh, Here we have to determine whether the following signals are energy signal or power signal, or neither energy nor power signal. Okay, so let us see the first problem here, x of t. So first of all what we will do, we will just plot this signal. Okay, just by looking at this signal we will try to uh, inference whether it's an energy signal or power signal. So once you will plot the signal x of t, so this will be equal, this will be look like this, e raised to the power minus at into ut, where a is positive here. Okay, so this signal will look like this. Okay, so from here we can say that it is also a kind of bounded signal. So just by looking at this we can say that it is a energy signal, it is not a power signal. Okay, so if suppose someone wants to calculate by using this expression, so he or she can also use this expression to determine whether it's a energy signal or power signal. Okay, so let us uh, try to solve this expression. So this will start from 0 and go till infinite. Okay, so similarly here this will be equals to 2t dot dt t over minus 2a and limit from 0 to infinite. So from here this will be equals to 1 over 2a. Okay, so energy of this signal will be equals to 1 by 2a, which is a finite value. So we can say that it is a energy signal. Similarly, you can calculate for power for this signal. This will become equals to 0. Okay, power will become equals to 0 and energy is finite. So we can say that this signal is basically a energy signal. Okay, similarly we can solve for this problem. So just by looking at this signal, which is a periodic signal, because every sine or cos signal is a periodic signal, and uh, every periodic signal is basically a power signal. Okay, so just by looking at this signal we can say that it is a power signal. So you can also use this expression so as to calculate whether power is finite or not. Okay, so like here 1 by t naught integral 0 to t naught mod of x of t square dot dt. Once you calculate this expression, the calculated power will be equals to a square by 2, which is a finite quantity. Okay, similarly if you will calculate energy for this signal, this will become equals to 0. Okay, oh sorry, infinite. This will become equals to infinite. So for signal uh, having power finite and energy infinite, we can say that this kind of signal is a power signal. Okay, so similarly the third problem we can solve, that is x of t is equals to t into ut. Okay, let me remove this first. Yeah, so the another problem is x of t is equals to t into ut. Okay, so this kind of signal we will first plot. So this x of t is plotted as like this. Okay, this is basically a straight line. Okay, and it will be start from 0 and go till infinite. Okay, so for this signal we will first calculate the energy signal, sorry, energy contained by this signal. So this will be equals to minus infinite to infinite mod of x of t square dot dt. So this will be equals to 0 to infinite, because this will start from 0 and go till infinite. So that's why I am taking the integration limit as 0 to infinite t squared dt. Okay, so this will be equals to t cube by 3, and we will put the limit as, so this will be equals to infinite. So energy is infinite here. Okay, so now let us move ahead and find the power contained by this signal. So here limit t tends to infinite 1 by t integral minus t by 2 to t by 2 mod of x of t square dot dt. So we will evaluate this integral first of all and see whether the power is finite or not. Okay, so this will be equals to from yeah 0 to t, yeah t by 2, and this is equals to t square dot dt limit t tends to infinite 1 by t into t cube by 3, and limit is from 0 to t by 2. So from here we can calculate t tends to infinite 1 by t into t by 2 cube by 3. Okay, so from this numerator and denominator we will cut this capital T, and this will be equals to t square by 8 by 3. Okay, and so now once we put this limit, that is t tends to infinite, so power will be equals to infinite. So from here we can see that energy is infinite here as well as power is infinite here. Okay, so such kind of signal for which energy is infinite and power is infinite as well, so such kind of signal is known as neither energy nor power signal. Neither energy nor power signal. Okay, so such kind of signal is known as neither energy nor power signal. Okay, so we have seen three conditions: that a signal is energy signal when energy is finite and power is zero, whereas the signal is power signal when energy is infinite and power is finite. And now we have seen the third kind of signal for which energy is infinite and power is also infinite. So such kind of signal is known as neither energy nor power signal. Okay, so these are the three categories of signals basically. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So we will move ahead and uh, see this next problem. So any doubt till now? Okay. So the next problem is x of n is equals to minus 0.5 raised to the power n into u of n. Okay, so we will first calculate the energy of this signal. So we will use, so first of all, see, it is not a uh, continuous time signal, it is a uh, sequence, basically a discrete time sequence. Okay, so here the formula is little bit change. Okay, so for here we have to calculate like n is equals to minus n to n mod of x of n square. Okay, so we will use this formula for calculating the energy, whereas for finding out the power contained by this signal we will use this formula, that is limit n tends to infinite 1 over 2n plus 1 summation n from minus n to n into mod of x of n square. Okay, so we will use this formula for calculating the energy and power contained in any discrete time sequence. Okay, so let us use this formula for calculating the energy contained by this signal. Okay, so here energy is defined as uh, minus n to n, yeah, this will be equal to minus 0.5 raised to the power 2n into un. Okay, so this will be equals to summation n is equals to 0 to n, basically because here un function is there, which is defined only for 0 1 2 dot dot and so on. Okay, so that's why I am taking limit from 0 to n, and this will be equals to 0.25 raised to the power n. Okay, so here uh, you can calculate this value. Okay, so this will be equals to 1 over 1 minus r. Okay, which is basically a summation of infinite number of gp. Okay, so I am using this formula for evaluating this expression. Okay, so that's how you can calculate the energy contained in the signal. Okay, so once you calculate, you will find that energy is basically finite here. So that's how you can say that this signal is basically an energy signal. Okay, whereas for determining whether this signal is a energy signal or power signal, what we have to do, we will use this formula so as to determine the power first, and then we will use this formula for determining the energy contained in the signal. So once you calculate, you will find that power is equal to 1 by 2, which is a finite value. Okay, and when you calculate energy for this signal, so this will be infinite. So I am leaving this exercise for you so as to calculate by yourself, and once you calculate, you will get that it is a power signal. Okay, so any doubt in this question? Any doubt? Guys, you can speak. Okay, Jyoti. Okay, so let us move ahead and see the next problem. So here uh, a continuous time signal is defined as x of t is equals to uh, t, which is defined for the interval 0 to 1 and 0 otherwise. So we have to determine the even and odd signal corresponding to this signal. Okay, so first of all, let us see that what is basically an even signal and what is an odd signal. So if suppose a signal x of t is given to you, and what you will do, you will put this argument as x t as minus t. So if you put t as minus t in the signal x of t, and if you will get the same signal, so such kind of signal is known as even signal. Okay, because it contains symmetry. So that's why once you put uh, t as minus t, you will get the same signal. Okay, whereas for an odd signal, once you put t as minus t, you will get minus x of t. Okay, so basically this representing the anti-symmetry. Okay, so the best example for this kind of signals are like uh, cos. Okay, cos signal, cos of omega t. So for cos of omega t, uh, we can plot it like this. Okay, this is basically cos of omega t. We can plot cos of omega t like this. So once you put t as minus t, okay, let us see that it is pi by pi by 8. Okay, so once you put uh, t as minus pi by 8, you will get the same value. Okay, you will get the same value. So this basically representing that it is an even signal, whereas the best example for odd signal is sine signal. So sine signal can be plotted it like sine of omega t. Okay, so here you can say that once you put t is equals to pi by 8, okay, and once you replace t as minus pi by 8, okay, here once you replace t as minus pi by 8, you will get the same value, but the sign will be opposite. Okay, because of the anti-symmetricity. So this kind of signal is known as odd signal. Okay, so this even and odd part of this signal basically we have to determine here. Okay, so let us move ahead and see. So yeah, let me erase this first. Okay, so x of t is given to us, that x of t is plotted like from 0 to 1 interval it is equals to t. Okay, so this is basically x of t. Okay, so now we have to determine the even and odd signal of corresponding to this signal. Okay, so even signal is basically determined as x of t plus x of minus t by 2, whereas odd part of any signal is determined as x of t minus x of minus t by 2. Okay, so x of t is given to you. If you are able to determine x of minus t, then by using these two expression we can easily determine the even signal and odd signal corresponding to this signal. So our first target is to determine the x of minus t here. So let us see that how to determine the x of minus t. So this basically representing the time reversal. Okay, so this basically representing the time reversal. So this signal will start from -1 and go till 0. Okay, so this basically representing x of minus t. Okay, so now once you know these two signal, you have to just take summation of these two signal and divide it by 2 so as to determine the even part of this signal. So that we will do here. So we will first add these two signal. Okay, here amplitude we can also write like 1, because at t is equals to 1, this x of t value will be equals to 1. Okay, so that's why the amplitude is 1 here. So now we will add these two signals first. So this will be equals to like this. Yeah, so this will be equals to like this, and it will start from -1 and go till 1. Okay, so now you have just take summation of these two signal, and now you have to divide this signal by 2. So once you divide this signal by 2, only the amplitude will change here. So this basically representing the even part of this signal. Okay, whereas for determining the odd part of signal, what we will do, we will subtract these two signals. So once you subtract these two signals, what you will get, so like here, if you subtract for t greater than 0, so you will get the same signal having amplitude of 1. Whereas once you uh, subtract these two signals, so you will get the opposite. Okay, having amplitude of -1. Okay, so now you had subtracted these two signals. Now you have to just multiply these two quantity by a factor of 1 by 2. So once you uh, multiply this by a factor 1 by 2, you will get this signal. Okay, so this representing the odd part of the signal. Okay, so that's how you can determine the even and odd part of any signal. So any problem with this question? Any doubt here? Okay, okay, Jyoti, thanks. So let us move ahead. Yeah, here is the next problem. Let me first erase. Why it is not erasing? Okay, I don't know why my pointer is not working. I'm sorry for that. Okay, so leave it. Like here, what we have to uh, determine, we have to simplify the following expression. Okay, that is 5 minus jt over 7 plus t square into del of t. Okay, so for determining this expression, we have to first know some of the property of delta function. Okay, so like delta of t function is defined only for t is equals to 0. At t is equals to 0, its value is equals to 1 for unit impulse function, and 0 otherwise. Okay, so here for solving this question, what we have to do, because delta of t is defined only for t is equals to 0, we have to put here t is equals to 0. So we have to basically put here t is equals to 0. Okay, so at t is equals to 0, once you put, you will get 5 by 7. So that's how you can find out the uh, value of this expression. Okay, whereas for solving the next problem, we have to see the another property of delta function, which is defined as minus infinite to infinite phi of t into delta of t minus t naught dot dt. So this will be equals to phi of t naught. Okay, so because here delta of t minus t naught is defined only at t is equals to t naught. So this delta of t minus t naught is defined only for t is equals to t naught and its value is equals to 1 and 0 otherwise. Okay, so once you integrate any function with this delta of t minus t naught with the limit of minus infinite to infinite, so you will get the value of this function only at t is equals to t naught. Only for this you will define this. Okay, so like here for solving this problem, what we will do, we will take t at t is equals to 2. Okay, so we will put here t is equals to 2 for function phi of t, which is uh, t plus 5. Okay, so once you put t is equals to 2 at phi of t, so you will get 2 plus 5 is equals to 7. Okay, so this basically, that is how you can calculate such kind of problem. Similarly, you can use the same property for solving the third problem. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why this eraser is not working. Yeah, so I think let me open this PDF file. I think it will be clear to you. Yeah, so here like uh, what you have to do, you have to put omega as 5 here, because for only omega is equals to 5 this function is defined. Okay, so you have to just put omega as 5 here. So once you put the value of omega as 5 here, so you will get this expression. Okay, after solving you will get j e raised to the power 2. So this basically uh, that is how you can calculate value of any function at by using this property. Okay, by using this property you can calculate this function. So any doubt with in this question? Okay, Jyoti, thanks. Yeah, so here is the next problem. So we have to calculate the quantity. Okay, basically here also we have to use the same uh, yeah, we have to say use the same property. Only the thing is we have to take one additional property here. So like the another property is scaling property. Okay, let me check. uh, Actually, my pen is not working. Sorry for that. I think it is better to just see the solution here and just try to infer it. Okay, so like here, uh, one property is there, that is uh, delta of uh, at minus t naught. So this will be equals to 1 by a delta of t minus t naught by a. Okay, so I am using this property so as to solve this problem. Okay, so once this is known as scaling property of the delta function. Okay, so once you use this scaling property, what you will do, you will take this 4 as 1 by 4 into delta of u minus uh, 10 pi by 4. Okay, so that's how you can substitute. Okay, so now this problem is same as the previous problem, where you have to use the same property that we have used in the previous problem. We have to just put u as 10 pi by 4. Okay, so once you put the value of u as 10 pi by 4, so you will get the value as 1 by 4. Okay, because sine 5 pi by 2 is equals to 1, so that's why you will get the value of 1 by 4 here. Okay, similarly we can solve the this problem. So here we will use this property of delta function. I am sorry because my pen is not working. So I think it is better to uh, either can I take this problem in the next class, because right now I am unable to show you because my pen is not working. If you guys are okay with that, then I will take this problem in the next class.
Sir, please can you close and try to reopen and just try again if it works?
Yeah, okay, let me try. Yeah, okay. Yes, okay, now it is working. Thanks. So here the problem is we have to basically evaluate this integral. Okay, so for that we will use this property of this delta function, that is phi of t into del dash of t dot dt, limit from minus infinite to infinite. So for evaluating such kind of problem, it will be equals to minus phi dash of t at at the time instant for which this delta function is defined. Okay, so let us say this is defined for t minus t naught. So here we have to put t is equals to t naught. Okay, so we will use this property so as to solve this question. Okay, so so like by just substituting here minus infinite to infinite sine of t by 5 into delta of t by 4 dot dt. So first of all we will we will basically try to make this problem same as this one. Okay, because here one factor, that is 1 by 4, is there. Okay, so we cannot directly use this property. So for making it same as this property, what we will do, we will uh, use this, we will substitute this t by 4 with the another variable which is tau. Okay, so basically we are trying to change the limit as well as this variable. So this dt will be equals to 4 d tau. Okay, and limit can be similarly changed, so this will be equals to minus infinite to infinite, and this is 4 sine of tau delta dash of tau. Yeah, this will be 4 by 5 dot d tau. So now we can see that these two expression are like same. Okay, so now we can use this property. So for that, what we will do, we will take this 4 outside this expression. So now this function becomes equals to 5 phi of t. Okay, so we have to take phi dash of t. Okay, and yeah, minus sign is also there, and this is defined for tau is equals to 0. Okay, so this will be equals to minus 4 sine will be equals to cos of 4 tau by 5 into 4 by 5. Okay, so this will be minus 16 by 5, and this is defined for tau is equals to 0. Okay, so this will be equals to 1, so this is minus 16 by 5. So this option is correct for this problem. Okay, so that is how we can use the property of delta function to solve any problem. So any doubt in this problem? Any doubt? Okay, so this was the last problem of this session. So if you guys have any problem in any of the question that I have covered in this session, then you can ask. Yes, this session is recorded and it will be available in the NPTEL site. This link will be shared to you soon. Also, the course material we will share with you. Apart from that, if you have any doubt, like in course material, or you want to add something so that I can improve for the future session, so you can tell me. So I hope there is no doubt. Yeah, so this recorded lecture is basically, the link of this recorded session is basically shared by NPTEL team. So that you will get soon, I think. Any other doubt?
Sir,
Yes,
sir,
yes, please.
sir, what? Sir, periodic signal means what, sir?
Sorry.
Sir, what periodic signal means what, sir?
I'm unable to get it. What you are saying? Pre-edit signal.
Sir, periodic signal.
Can you write in chat box?
Chat box.
Yeah.
Where is that, sir? Where is, I don't know.
I'm unable to get it. What you are saying?
Sir?
What you are saying? What topic you are saying?
Sir, you told me, sir, periodic signal.
Periodic signal. Okay, periodic signal. Basically,
Yes, sir.
periodic signal is a kind of signal where basically you are uh, you are seeing that whether the signal is repeating itself or not. Okay, so like,
Okay.
yeah, so like sine signal, if you will see sine signal. Okay, so this is sine signal. Okay, so it is
Okay.
basically repeating itself after a interval of 2 pi. If this is my
Okay, sir.
theta, so sine signal is basically repeating itself after a period of 2 pi. Okay, so this is a basically this kind of signal is very important in real life. Like this electric power that is coming to our home. Okay, here we
Okay.
will take sinusoidal signal because it is easy to basically uh, like it is easy to analyze these kind of signal. That's why we will take periodic signal, basically sine signal. Okay, because it is very easy
Okay.
to analyze.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Any other doubt? So I think we can wind up this session here.